Hi there folks, and welcome to another episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. We're back out here and we have another consecutive sunny day, warm day. Okay, it's a little cooler than yesterday by about 6 or 7 degrees, but there's a wind blowing, which that's why I've got the old, sporting the old flannel looking coat. But today's the day I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the wheels off, pull the wheel bearings off, see what I got there. I'm going to go ahead and jack this thing up on at least 3 to 4 jack stands, and we're going to address the tongue issue. I've got the center rollers. I want to get under the underside of this thing and get those center rollers adjusted so they're sitting on a flat. That's going to do 2 things for me. I've got those on the back between the ribs, and I've got the ones in the front I want to get between ribs. It's going to help guide things. When I'm centered up on the trailer, it's going to sit, and when I'm trailering it, it's going to help keep it from, moving around too much. I will be strapped down in the front, obviously, and strapped down in the back, but we're going to do some measurements here, and I'm going to go with some of my thinking. I'm going to think out loud with you and show you why I'm doing what I'm doing, what I'm going to do to move this tongue out. I'm gonna have to buy another piece of tubing, obviously, but to move this tongue out and get me some distance, because what you can have if you don't have enough distance on your tongue between the tongue and your boat. Now, a V-bottom boat, a V-bow, V-bottom, pointed boat, it's not nearly as critical. But when you got a boat that's fairly wide in the front and you go to jackknife things, you don't want your car coming around and smack it into here. You can break a tail light lens or dent your bumper or dent your tailgate or just mess things up in general. So I'm going to show you some of my thoughts behind why I'm doing what I'm doing, and let's just dive in. First things first, I'm going to get underneath there and I want to get those rollers moved where I want them. Once the rollers are moved where I want them, I'm going to jack this thing up, pull some wheels off, take a look at the wheel bearings, see where I got to go from there, and then we're going to address this tongue issue. Let's get underneath this thing right now. Okay, now here we are down underneath the boat looking at the front rollers. The rear rollers are looking really good. They're all sitting back there doing back boat roller things. The front ones are not quite wide enough, I don't believe, in order to get me spread out so I can be on either side of a rib. So it's okay to sit on a rib, but I want them both to sit on them. I think I can slide it over just enough to be on the outside edge here and here on both of those. And that'll kind of help center things up. It also, so what if it mashes the corner of the wheel down a little bit over time? I'm okay with that because this is the trailer it's going to be on. So I'm going to have to loosen the bolts up down here, slide things over, support the front of the boat a little bit here so it doesn't end up falling down on me while I'm trying to do this roller thing. So let's get after loosening up some bolts. I'm going to throw you on time lapse while I'm doing this because it's a slow process to a certain degree. Okay, we've got the tongue off the trailer now, unbolted. I've got the tongue pulled out to approximately where I want it. Now, what I want to be able to do here, this is going to put the boat about 5 feet away from the vehicle. And the vehicle, let's just say it's 6 feet wide. That's 3 feet. That gives me 2 spare feet to jackknife easily. Now what I got to do, there's a tube right back here that I want to get back to. Right there. Minimum. So what it's telling me now is I need 13 foot. Yep, 13 feet. What that'll do, that'll give me an extra foot to play with. I can always cut off what I don't need. But you can't add, I mean, you can add on, but it's not easy. It's not as easy as you'd like it to be. Plus, I don't like welding on the tongue in areas that, I don't know, I just don't like it. But the reason I'm gonna go back to this cross member here is I can go back to here, and then it's gonna be braced here, and a bolt through here, and it's gonna be 3 points of contact. And this here is an 1/8 inch wall. And I'm gonna see if I can go to like a 3/16 wall. So it's a little bit, I mean, it's gonna weigh a little more, yep, for sure. And it's gonna add some tongue weight to the trailer, which is fine. This trailer's not gonna have a whole lot of tongue weight when it's all done anyway. But that'll give me plenty of room to play with. I can slide the tube back and forth, get what I want, get my car out here, you know, just kind of get a feel for it. But like I said, nothing scientific. This here, I'm gonna reconfigure this to be something that's more sideways. So it's hitting up here in the front of the bow up here, and then this hook will pull through the middle of it still and keep it trapped down. And then obviously the safety chain will still hook on. That's the goal here. Took a little bit. Some of them bolts didn't want to come out. Some of them just plain broke. So I'm gonna have to replace them. But yeah, another step in the right direction. We got the front rollers where I wanted them. Well, kinda. They're where they're gonna be. That's all there is to it. It's probably not where I want them, but that's where they're gonna be. All I got left to do now is snap off the back wheels, and then it's cleanup time. Let's get a look at what these bearings are gonna look like on here. Wow, that actually sounds okay. That's never happened to me. I'll take these inside and see what they look like. Okay, folks, we've made some progress on the old trailer. I'll catch you up on where I'm at so far. We've got wheel bearings purchased. They're here. We're going to repack and redo wheel bearings. I'll touch on that a little bit. We've done wheel bearings before in other videos, but I'll demonstrate one on how I still install wheel bearings and grease them and then put one wheel on. Well, we won't spend a whole lot of time on that, but I want to give, you know, the people that don't know it or haven't seen it before, it's for them, right? And I appreciate all your viewers that are watching me all along. The way of this project that you tolerate some of the stuff you already know. I appreciate it very, very much. Anyway, what I've got here is a piece of 3x3 by 3/16 wall tubing. This is the new tongue for the trailer. I actually kind of test fit it, and it's longer for multiple reasons. One of the big reasons I'll show you outside tomorrow. My goal tonight is to get some holes drilled in it, get it cleaned up, shoot it with some paint so it's ready to go outside in the weather and not rust anymore. But we got a trailer coupler we're going to drill holes for. I've got a spot marked out for where the trailer comes together, and there's a bolt that goes between the two trailer frame pieces that come together where the tongue goes through. But yeah, we got this thing so it goes all the way back to another cross member. The 3 U-bolt clamps that are underneath go there, and then where it comes together. So it's actually going to be locked down in 3 places instead of just 2. So that's going to actually stiffen things up a little bit. Plus the extra length tongue is going to give me plenty of room to put my winch and my trailer jack and safety chains and a spare tire mount without everything getting so crowded. And on my Jeep, I'll be able to swing the back door all the way open is the goal without it hitting anything. So yes, it's probably going to be 2 feet longer than it needs to be, but that's fine. It's going to trail very nicely, and it's going to dunk in the water without me having to get the... So what we're going to get busy with now, I've got to drill a cross hole here, 2 cross holes up here, and I want to 45 the back angle so I can put 2 holes down through it, and that'll allow me to bolt to that back cross member, and gain, with the angle cut on it, will gain me easy access to mark, drill, and bolt that piece. And I think we're gonna have, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I bought me some paint. It's over there. I got some of this Rust-Oleum. Let me just show you. You guys feel free to comment what you use below. I bought this fast drying, any angle spray Rust-Oleum professional primer. High output tip, 50% faster coverage. And then I got the high performance enamel 15-minute fast dry Rust-Oleum in a gray. It looks like almost a gray metallic. The trailer's kind of grayish. That's what we're going for. We're not painting the whole trailer, but I want to get this thing protected at least until it's warm enough outside that I could really kind of maybe clean it up, get rid of some flaky rust stuff. Somebody mentioned something, are you going to get rid of all the flaky rust? Yeah, we'll get rid of that eventually. But right now, it's too cold. It's like 40, like tomorrow I'm taking advantage of a high of 40 degrees to get out there and get this thing kind of buttoned up and back on the ground is my goal. So I'm going to switch you to time lapse. We're going to drill, spray paint, and then tomorrow, bright and early, after I take another boat to the dump anyway, bright and early, the Mark Twain's leaving the property, bringing the trailer back here. But I want to get out there and see how much of this trailer I can get done in part 2 here. I'm hoping we can get a lot done. I want to get it towable again, and so I can move it around the yard, and then we're going to do some, some of the other finishing touches, possibly in part 2, maybe in part 3, with the lighting, wiring, and other assorted details on the trailer, guide post, and all that fun stuff. I got some interesting stuff I got planned for it. I want to bring you guys along with me for that as well. All right, enjoy the time lapse. We're going to get this thing done, and then we'll be outside shortly. All right, we're going to take a little pause from the time lapse here. I want to show you, I'm installing the wheel bearings here. I got the outer races, I knocked them all out. I got me a brass, or not a brass, a mild steel rod here that I use, and I take it over to the belt sander and I sharpen up the edge so I got a nice stiff, sharp edge there. So when I'm catching the edge of this bearing to put it back in, normally you could use a bearing driver. I don't have one. One of these days I'll probably break down and purchase one. But what I typically do, I get the bearing started, and I'll try to knock the sound down so you guys don't hear this banging. But I wanted you to take note of one particular thing when I get to it, and I'll share with what that is. So I get her tapped down flush like that. And then I catch the edge of my punch. Try not to catch your wheel hub, but just catch it there, and you can give it a little tap, back and forth. Eventually you'll get it deep enough that you can just, you see it traps your punch now? Makes it easy to work it down in there. Don't try to do too much on one side at a time. Just give it nice light little love taps. And what I want you to listen for, when I get closer to the bottom, you hear what it sounds like now. You can feel it give. And this works best if you're on a steel bench or something very firm. But just keep working it down. Hear that? I hear it is a solid hit. You can tell when it bottoms out. It changes tone, it changes feel and everything. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you, how to properly install the bearing, or redneck install the bearing with just a piece of mild steel. Your mild steel is not going to hurt this bearing. This bearing is hard. Harder than your hammer and harder than the punch. So yeah, once I get to the bottom, I tap it all the way around. That way you know it's sitting down flush against that shoulder, because both these bearings need to be sitting parallel. If they're not sitting parallel, you're going to have some problems. All right, I'm going to go ahead and drive this one in, and then we'll catch up with you when we're putting the bearings in here. Alrighty, we're getting ready to install the bearings now. I've already got the bearings packed. I always like to make sure my hands are nice and clean. But inside here, I'm going to go ahead and take a finger full of grease here and just kind of coat this inside where the bearing race that we just drove in is at. And here I am. I'm using the high temp red tacky grease. I like that stuff. It seems to work really well on all my wheel bearings, so that's what I've been using for a long time. You get your grease in there, then you get your packed wheel bearing in there, stuff that in there. I put a little more grease in it, kind of fill in the edges here. You want to make sure you got plenty of grease around this bearing on both sides. Once you get that bearing grease in there, then it's time to drive your seal in. And this particular kit that I bought came with 2 different diameter seals. There's one for a bigger diameter and a smaller diameter. My axle has a smaller diameter. Put it with a cup inward, and you get yourself a flat plate that I'll find here in just a second. And we'll give her a tap and tap it down flush. Now here I have a nice flat piece of steel plate here. I can lay this on top, hold it kind of flat, and give her a, gets her started in. And just like that, she's down flat and flush. And now I always like to try to get some grease up on that seal, so that grease doesn't, or that axle, and doesn't rub against that seal without a little bit of lubrication on it. That side's done. We'll flip it over. Then I stick the bearing in on the other side. Here again, get plenty of grease in this hole. Be generous. Once you got that plenty lubed up with grease, stick this outer bearing in. Now this thing is ready to install back on the trailer. I've actually taken my bearing buddies here, and I've already packed them full of grease. So once I get everything tightened up, I'll put this on, drive this in tight, and everything's good to go. All right, we got a small opportunity window here to get this tongue back under here before the sun goes down while I still have video light. And I can also get it out of my shop. Let's see how far we can get. I'll bring you in close and show you some of the details of what I'm doing when I'm fastening it up to the trailer. Let me go get that trailer tongue and I'll be right back. Oh my goodness, this is heavy. You know, if you had a good buddy helping you, at least, oh my goodness, he could be right behind you supporting you, you know, making sure your O-ring didn't pop out. My God. Okay, now we got a slider back in there. Yep, right on top there, in between, out front, somewhere sideways. So this hole here is gonna line up with that hole there in a fastener or something or another. So, will this let me slide it? Not so much. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Lord help me. Oh. Well, that's almost the right height. Oh, excuse me. Almost perfect. All right. That tongue's way out there. But once I get all the other apparati bolted on here, it won't look that far out there, I don't believe. All right. I think we can make that work. That looks like that might actually work. Get off my head. Get off my head. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're talking there. Talking some good stuff there, buddy. Well, I want to get that bolt in first. That way I can center that tongue up on the trailer. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that here in a bit. So let's see if I can get that bolt through there. I'm going to have to do a little modification to get that done. Okay, now, if you take away nothing from me but this when you're building a trailer, is making sure you got the axle and the tongue straight. And what I say by that, now you can have a bent axle and different things like that going on, but assuming your axle's in good shape and all that fun stuff, and you're building a trailer and you're putting a tongue on it, the one important measurement you want to do, and I highly recommend you do this, is measure from the tip of your tongue to the center of your trailer axle on both sides. Now in this case, I'm measuring from right here on the center of this tongue, and I'm pulling my tape measure back, and I'm going to the center of the axle, which is 215 inches and 5/8. So it's 215 and 5/8, and you do that on the other side. $215 and 5/8 on the money. So what that'll tell you is that you got a perfect isosceles triangle. That means it's the same distance. If you have this thing crooked, you know, one way or the other, it's not going to trail down the road right. It's going to dog leg, pull behind you a little bit off center. It's going to wear the crap out of your tires. So if you don't do anything else right, do that part right. At least your tires will actually dry rot off your trailer because you probably won't wear them out, which is what you want. You don't want them blowing out because they're overheating on the highway. All right, what I did is I got this bolt down here in the middle tightened up. I was able to move the tongue around enough to get my triangle squared up, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and drill and bolt in the back, and then put my angle iron piece up front here with my 3 U-bolts, new U-bolts. And that way the tongue will be fastened in place and it will be centered. Good stuff. Hot chips coming through. I got to get some longer bolts here. This will just kind of, you know, let's just say it's a placeholder until I get some. I need about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch longer so I can get a washer, a lock washer, and other things under there on it, right? So we're gonna move up here and put a triple clamp up in place. Then we should be in pretty good shape. Well, we're running out of daylight quickly, so I got out the old LED light. Let's see if we can get a little more recording done on this thing. All right. Safety chains on. All right, guys and gals, I understand I'm jumping around quite a bit here, but your boy's been down for about 3 weeks. By the time you see this part of the video, the other half of the video, the front half of the video has been shot for 3 weeks actually, and I'm finally getting back up and around to where I can, you know, do some stuff, enjoy some stuff, and keep moving with my projects. So, what I'm getting ready to show you here, I'm trying to remember where I left off. It was right when I was bolting the front end thing on, and then my camera died and that type of stuff. So I want to catch you up and continue moving forward with this video. Well, here's what we got. So I'm going to turn you around here and show you here's the trailer tongue, all painted, bolted in place, kind of give you a quick walk around here, catch you up to speed. Now, the reason I went back, let's get underneath here and just show you some things. Oh, get down, it's low, baby. Well, just to give you an idea, right here to right here is only about, man, maybe 14 inches as you look at it from this direction. And keep in mind, the original tongue went from right here to right here, and that's where it stopped. And, you know, yes, it's held up for a lot of years that way, and it held up that way with a 2,600 plus pound boat sitting on it. So I don't know, but that's why I went clear back here. Went back another possibly 3 feet, roughly, picked up another cross member, bolted it down to that. So now I've got something that I feel pretty darn secure about how this trailer is coming together. One other thing I want to ask you folks, check it out here. See the roller bunks are here? Let me go around the back. We got the rollers back here as well. Now, somebody left a comment. Now this boat can obviously be shifted to the right. Somebody left a comment to the effect, hey, you don't want to use rollers on an aluminum John boat because it would create a lot of pressure points and, you know, maybe ruin the boat. I want you guys' opinion on that. Is that a real thing? Because this is easily converted to bunk style in a heartbeat. I mean, I could pull those things off, bolt on some plywood. I'll actually lower it down on the trailer another 6 inches easy. Is that something I should do? Maybe it's something I will do, but I don't want to get it too close to the ground because I still need to have, you know, an outboard that can be off the ground a little bit. Anywho, I just thought I'd share that with you. Let's go back to the front here. So, kind of give you a perspective here. I don't know if I can or can't. You can see that boat is about 5 foot away from that tongue right now. That's roughly 5 feet. Seems like a lot, right? But by the time I put the winch on here, a tongue jack on here, maybe a tire here, maybe the tire goes back here. But actually the tire, it'd be kind of nice to have it accessible. If it was to go down for some reason, do you want to crawl underneath your boat to get your tire, or do you want it up here? Right now, the tongue weight is probably approaching, when it's all said and done, by the time you hang anywhere from a 50 to 150 pound motor off the back, I'm going to be having, excuse me, anywhere from, I'm guessing 100 to 150 pounds of tongue weight, which actually is a good thing. If anybody's pulled a trailer that doesn't have enough tongue weight, the sound of that jockeying around back there will drive you nuts over if you're going over any distance at all. All right. Now, another thing I want to mention, because I'll be putting this on this weekend, I pulled these off, right? Now, what a lot of you might be tempted to do when you pull your hubs off and are going to repack your wheel bearings and whatnot, you might be tempted to wipe that off immediately, get all that grease and everything off. I did not, and thank goodness I didn't, because it has been now almost 4 weeks since I pulled those off, and because of the grease, we've had over 12 inches of snow, we've had over 2 inches of rain, we've had freezing, cold, and warm days, and the cool part is, because I left that grease on there, it did not rust. That's important. That's why I'm saying if you pull that off, if you've got new wheel bearings and you're getting ready to put that stuff on within the next 24 hours, not a big deal. But in my case, it turned out unplanned. It turned out to be several weeks. I'm going to go inside and show you the results of the old bearings. Now, I'm really hoping this will show up on camera here. But on this bearing, you can see some, if I roll it around here, you can see some dark stripes here and there. You know, these bearings are really quiet when I was spinning them before I pulled them off, but once you clean them up and you start seeing spots like this on the bearing, see that black spot right there inside the race? And I was also seeing, you're probably not gonna be able to see it very well here, started seeing some, like here, some black specks that are in the bearing. That's bearings are starting to wear. So that's when it was basically, it's time to replace at that point. So what we've done here is obviously we've got the new bearings packed, ready to go on. Actually, cleaned them up, shot them with the same paint that I put on the trailer tongue. Looks pretty good. Gonna protect it a little while longer. I've got back here, I've got my bearing buddies packed, new nuts and washers, so we're gonna stick that back on. I think you guys have probably seen enough of my videos to know how to reinstall a wheel bearing set, and that's what we're gonna do off camera. Let's go over here and take a quick look at some of the stuff we got going on here. So, bearings, check. No lights, coupler, tongue, safety chains, tire data codes. We checked that. One is within 2 years of expiring. The other one has expired. So now we got the winch strap, and strepino to hold the back of the boat down. We got trailer lights. I got a guide post I want to put on the side of the trailers in the back, and a spare tire mount. We got all that stuff to do yet. I wanted to show you what I bought for the for the winch. Now, what we had on here before was a rope winch. Could have been cable probably originally. We've taken all that off. The winch is still not in bad shape. Yeah, it's got a lot of surface rust on it, but actually once I sprayed it down, it actually works pretty good, but there's always a but, right? I've got bought a brand new winch from Harbor Freight with a, strap, hook. It's got the handle, everything. I'm just gonna bolt that on. Now, as you can see here, this is way taller than it needs to be. So chances are I'm gonna cut this off, just so it's not out there for me to hit my elbow on and all that kind of fun stuff. This is also held to the trailer tongue with some U-bolts. I still have 2 more stainless U-bolts to hook that back down. I'm probably gonna replace this one, and I've already cut this one free here. 2 more U-bolts that'll go right here. And what I'm gonna do here up front is we're gonna take this piece off, because I got a flat front, I don't have a V-bow like this was originally on, what was originally on there. I'm gonna replace it with 2 vertical pieces with horizontal thingies going across, right? Or 2 verticals with 1 thing at the top. I'm not sure yet, but it's gonna be something that catches the front of the boat and also keeps the front of the boat from coming up past, and I can still winch through the slot here and trap everything down where it belongs. So that's the goal there. Probably won't do that on this video. I think this video is getting close to wrapping up. As a matter of fact, I think this is the wrap up of this video, so I don't get, take up too much of your time, but also describe what I'm doing. Some of this stuff will also be, I'll show you what I'm doing after it's done. Some of it I will show some of the process of what I'm doing. Well, folks, I just want to wrap this video up and say thank you for watching. Thank you for your patience. Sorry for the gap I've had in releasing videos, but what I got over was something that's hard to explain, and I'm much better now. It was a weird ride. Let's just say that. But I also want to share with you, hey, I don't do a lot of sponsored videos. This one here is not what I would call a sponsored video. This is all the stuff I've done is my stuff, right? And I don't partner up with just anybody for my sponsored videos. You know, Strapino was one of them that I've done in the past, but that's straps that I bought, used, and I've done a review on them. And if you guys have seen that video, I use those straps a lot. My review after 6 months of use or so, or 4 or 5 months of use, that's my go-to strap for everything. You can't beat it as far as the usability of it, the functionality of it. It's 100%, 110% great stuff. I don't partner up with people that I don't support their products. JF Egwo sent me a jump pack. I still use it, still endorse that one. Well, guess what? We've got a new one here, folks, and it'll be this summer. We're going to have a lot of fun with these people. With their products, and it's SCI Marine Products right here behind me. They sent me a banner. They also sent me a brand new stern drive out drive. So they don't even know I'm doing this video, but I just want you guys to know that I have a stern drive engineering out drive on the Cobalt. It performs very well. I had never heard of the company before until I had that boat. They reached out to me and said they thought we'd be a pretty good match to work together, and they're not wrong. They have a brand new outdrive I'm going to put on one of my StarCrafts. They also have some other items I'll share with you, so I encourage you to stay tuned to see what kind of things, because these can be a pretty decent investment. The outdrive can be a pretty decent investment, but there's also some other products that help make them last longer I'm going to show you. Also, I have been looking at things online for stern drive engineering and pricing things out, and you know, their online presence, they have an online presence, but little did I know how many, you know, their website's neat to navigate through. It's really nice to navigate through, but I had no idea their catalog is immense. So, you know, they got OMC. Let's just look at the tabs. There's a Mercruiser tab. This is actually kind of nice. Mercruiser tab. I just got this stuff yesterday. A whole OMC tab. What's this next color? Volvo. Mercury itself, you know. God, look, there's a whole page of just drive shafts. What do we got? Gear cases for Johnson Evinrude, Yamaha, and a whole bunch of electrical. Looks like starters, alternators, trim pumps, all kinds of stuff. Well, they've hooked me up with a few products that we're going to install on some of my boats in the next coming, let's just say next 6 weeks to 2 months. I'm excited. The water is actually finally starting to thaw around here. We're going to get out on the lake. We're going to do some testing. We're going to put some new stuff in the water. I've got new trim pump from my old 1976 StarCraft that we're going to put on there because the trim keeps, you know, leaking down. Brand new trim pump, brand new lift cylinders, brand new plumbing for the whole thing. I'll hook you guys up with part numbers. I'll hook you up with the results of how they work and how to install it. First and foremost, we'll go through all this stuff step by step. I want you to be educated. I want you to be up to speed with me, and I want you to enjoy the journey with me and SCI Marine. I think it's going to be a fun one, folks. We're also going to keep doing outboards, obviously. We're going to keep doing all the things I've been doing. I got to finish that Jon boat because I got a bunch of outboards I want to test this spring that you guys have been following along with. So exciting stuff is what I'm trying to say. Appreciate you joining me. Appreciate your viewership. Thumbs up. You guys are great with your comments. You give me a lot of feedback, and I much appreciate it. I'll be there again. I'm trying to post at least once a week, if not more often. As summer comes around, I'm going to try to get more and more content out there. We've been hitting it pretty hard. Been grinding out videos pretty hard this winter so far, and we're going to continue to do so here. When I say we, I'm pretty much a one-man band, except for my drone guy, my son, he comes out with me. I call him up and say, hey, we're going out on the boat Friday. We're going out on the boat Saturday. That dude's there. He's reliable. And he's got his drone charged up, and he brings you some of that awesome drone footage. So if you want to, you know, send thanks for the drone footage in the comments, he reads the comments and he'll see that. And I would appreciate it if you guys did that, give him that feedback. All the drone footage you see at the end of the videos, that's all him. I can't fly the drone. Last time I tried to fly the drone and drive the boat, I pretty much almost lost my drone. So I don't do that. I do one thing. I drive the boat and, you know, talk. So as you guys well know. So thank you so much. We'll see you on the next video. Appreciate you. And this is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. And get up, do something, get a project done. Think about it. If you did 1 hour worth of project per day, just 1 hour per day of a project, that'd be 365 hours done toward that project. That gets a lot of work done. Guys, take care and behave.